There's only one problem with having a personal computer on your office desk. It's sometimes very difficult to take your work home with you. So if you ever wish that you could afford a famous brand personal computer at home that matches the one on your desk, this is your chance.
What's the deal, John?
This is the Commodore PC-5. It's IBM compatible, naturally, so it runs the same programs you use at the office.
What is the deal?
It's powerful enough to run even the largest programs. And like all PCs in the Commodore range, it's expandable.
What is the deal?
Here's the deal. You buy the Commodore PC-5 now at this low price, and for only $100 more, Commodore will give you this high-resolution monochrome monitor, a complete package of software, and a training course. You'll save about $1,000.
Now that's what I call a deal.
To find out more about this extremely generous special offer and to see the full range of Commodore PCs, contact your Commodore dealer now.
Are you keeping up with the Commodore? 'Cause the Commodore's keeping up with you.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I hope you're all doing okay. Now as you can, or I hope you can see anyway, we have before you something a little bit more interesting. Well, perhaps that's unfair. A little bit different to usual, let's say. Now what we have here is a Commodore PC-23, an IBM XT clone. Now this was developed by Commodore and sold in the, I think it was the mid to late 80s, but I'll read a little bit of the history in just a moment. But I've just received this machine today. I've unboxed it, give it a little bit of a wipe down, a check over. It's in beautiful condition. There is no battery damage, which is quite rare. It looks really nice. Now there are a few issues with it. Number one is there's no battery inside it, which is a good thing, but it means that the BIOS doesn't remember anything. The next issue is that the hard disk doesn't actually work. Now it fires up, it spins, it rotates as though it is working. It seems to access, but it doesn't. I've popped the ribbon out and had a little look. It is the correct way around, but what I did notice is that one of the pins from the header on the motherboard has come adrift and is stuck inside the cable. So, you know, I think that's a pretty good reason why it doesn't work. But fortunately it's one that can be easily repaired, and I'll be looking into that at a later date. Now the PC itself boots up, works perfectly. As I said, it is an XT clone rather than an AT clone. Now an XT is what the IBM 5150 was, or the early versions, and the AT was Advanced Technologies, which came along a couple of years later. Now the XT had its own keyboard protocol, which means that your bog standard PC keyboard won't work. You can plug it in, but it won't do anything. So I'm at a situation now where I find I have to buy a keyboard. I'm going to try and get a Commodore keyboard if I can. Obviously it's going to be an early XT keyboard, so it should be a little bit interesting whether I can or cannot get one for a reasonable sum. But let's see. So anyway, back to my machine. This arrived from Poland today. Well, actually it arrived at a neighbour's, which was quite nice of them. So I've been around there and collected it. Beautifully wrapped, beautifully packaged. It's in particularly nice condition, which is good, and it works. There is little to no battery damage, which is also a bonus. That is what killed my original PC-20. But with the help of this one, I hope to resurrect the other one. I've pinched the BIOS from the other machine, as it is a later version of the one we're looking at now, but not that makes any difference, I don't think, but you know, newer is always better. So looking at the machine in front of you, you can see we have a 5¼ inch floppy disk drive, and that is a 360K. Not sure if it's single-sided or double-sided, but I suspect it's single-sided, a single density. It might be double density, I'm not sure. In fact, it probably is double density, as a single would be 180K, wouldn't it? So the chances are it's double. It has 3 ISA slots, 8-bit ISA. So it could have, for example, a sound card in there, which nothing would use. It could have a VGA card, which would allow me to have colour rather than using the composite out that it's got now. It does have an ATI graphic card built in, or ATI chipset, which I think gives it Hercules or Hercules stroke CGA graphic capability. Now, the very fact that I'm running through composite would mean that it's black and white, I imagine. I'm not too sure about that, but I would think it probably is. And that's it as far as the machine goes. It's 240 volt power pack, not very powerful. It has a, I think, 20 megabyte hard drive. It's either Western Digital or a Seagate. I'm not sure which one this has in it. And that's about it. But it's a compact design. It's very nice. It's you know, it's reasonably pretty for a PC. They weren't the prettiest things. It's very much of Commodore's square brown box design. But anyway, enough of this waffle. Let me read a little bit about what this machine is, or some of the history anyway. In 1984, Commodore signed a deal with Intel to become a second source of the Intel 88 CPU. Now, this was a big deal, but Commodore, in their infinite wisdom, never did a damn thing with it. They had great trouble fabricating the chips, I believe, which is why it went nowhere. They bought in their chips from Intel. But anyway, they were a second source to Intel, along with a license to manufacture a computer based upon the Dynalogic Hyperion, which is a PC, obviously. Neither of which they utilized, and neither of which they used. If you think that Commodore could well have been the AMD of their day, which they were, I suppose, they manufactured and fabricated their own chips, so they still could have been around today if their head wasn't firmly implanted up their own arse. But anyway, in 1987, their first model PCs were released. That was the PC-10, which sold for $559 US without a screen, which is about $1,200 in today's money. They were sold alongside the Amigas and Commodore 64 line of home computers, but were compatible with neither. The PC-10 was comparable to the Blue Chip PC, the leading edge Model D, and the Tandy 1000 line of PC compatible machines. The model range, it appears to be a PC-1, which is a small form factor, non-expandable PC with a 4.77 MHz 8080, a PC-5, which is a full-sized XE clone, a PC-10, which is a full-sized AT clone with 8080, a PC-20, which is a PC-10 effectively with a 20 megabyte hard disk. Now, it does say here a PC-20 is a PC-10 with a 20 megabyte hard disk, which is incorrect. I'm reading from Wiki, by the way. A PC-10 may or may not have been an AT-sized model 8080, but it was in fact an XT. And now an XT won't work with an AT keyboard, for example. Anyway, they did a PC-20, which was a PC-10 with 20 megabyte hard disk, which we see before us. We have, or they made the Colt, which is a rebranded PC-10. They did the PC-30, which is a 12 megahertz 286, PC-40, which is a 10 megahertz PC-AT with Hercules and CGA, a PC-50, which is a 386 running at 16 megahertz, and they did a PC-60, which is a 25 megahertz 386 FPU in a tower case with a 60 to a 200 megabytes hard drive. And that was the last PC compatible machine that Commodore made. Now, I do remember being told a story by, I think it was Dave Haney, and he said when the 386s were first released, they needed to do some work on a PC, and they didn't have a 386, they only had a 286. So they contacted Commodore to provide them with a 386, and I don't think they had any in stock, or stock was on its way or whatever, but they didn't have any. So they went out and bought one, and the Commodore employees could go and buy a 386 cheaper than Commodore could supply them with in-house. So it shows you how far off they were with their pricing. But anyway, that's all history. let's have a look what's going on here. So I'll turn the screen on, which is nodded off because I've been waffling on for so long. Okay, it's SCART because it's going through composite. Turn the machine on, the hard drive spins up. We have a Commodore PC BIOS 4.36C 1987. So this is obviously one of the earlier machines from that era. Now I did change the BIOS from the 4.35 I think it is in my earlier machine. No, I didn't. I changed the 4.35 from this machine to the 4.36 from my other machine. Not that it makes any difference, I just wondered if it would make the hard drive burst into life, but it doesn't. Now the floppy disk it's booting from is from my A2000 PC bridge card, and it's the A2088 I think it is. I'm sure it'll tell me if I'm wrong. Now the good thing about these machines, there we go, A2088 or A2286. 1988 Commodore, 1986 Microsoft, version 3.30. Now a good thing about these machines is that you could use the, I think it was SpeedExe or something in DOS to change the CPU speed on the fly from the standard 4.77 to I believe it was 8 megahertz and possibly 10 megahertz. So it was, you know, at the time, a reasonably fast 8088. Now a lot of these machines had cards plugged into them to make them slightly more modern. They had, generally speaking, VGA cards popped in to give colour output. They may or may not have had a modem or something, but that was about the limit of these things. There wasn't a whole lot you could do with them. They weren't a particularly good games machine, but they were okay for doing office stuff, your Lotus and all the rest of it. But this is something we'll talk about in another video, if you can stand the excitement. Once I get the keyboard sorted out, we can play with DOS, get the machine running, do some speed tests, get some software on there, and just have a bit of fun messing about. But that is the Commodore PC-23. Not 23, but 20-3. We'll have a look at the motherboard in another video. I'll take it all apart step by step and I'll video it so you can see what's going on. It's quite a pretty motherboard as much as it's compact. It's neatly arranged. It's quite nice. But that's a video for another day. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the video. It's a little bit impromptu, but I just thought I'd show it while I have time. I will be doing some streams and some more videos later, but I'm going on holiday soon, so holidays come first. But that's it from me. Thank you very much. Take care, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye for now.